Napoli's first league title in 33 years. Napoli have finally won the Serie A title after 33 years in a convincing fashion, dominating the league and winning comfortably with a huge margin of 16 points in front of the number 2, Lazio. It was a season like no other. And so, how exactly did Napoli win the title? And what did it take for the Blues to lift that precious Scudetto that has long avoided their wraths? Join us as we explore Napoli's 2023 season. Winning the league title in the years after Diego Maradona's reign, a daunting 33-year-long stretch has often seemed unattainable with other than traditional museums, and devotees persistently visiting the artistic depictions of him in the city's Spanish Quarter. Logic gives way to a unique blend of mysticism and reality, with superstition serving as the guiding principle. Last year ended terribly for Napoli, with Luciano Spalletti instilled a sense of determination and passion in the team. These were the words that echoed the dream of every Napoli fan, to see their team as champions again. In the initial part of the season, they seemed to be on track to realise this dream. They started strong, when faced a series of setbacks, a significant injury to Osimhen, caused by Milan Skriniar's elbow, and the temporary loss of players like Koulibaly and Khvicha, due to the Africa Cup of Nations, were severe blows. Napoli's President De Laurentiis expresses frustration with this, vowing not to purchase African players unless they agree to forego playing in the tournament. Additionally, the expiring contracts of significant players like Insigne, who was spotted signing for Toronto FC, and Mertens, who was disappointed his contract wasn't extended despite offering a pay cut, added to the team's challenges. Although they were leading the league going into March, setbacks made the atmosphere at the club increasingly tense, and this was reflected off the field as well. Spalletti's Fiat Panda was stolen, and a banner left outside the ground declared it would only be returned if he left the club. Despite his attempt to joke about it, the situation symbolised the fans' dissatisfaction. Issues didn't stop there. Protests over ticket prices continued, and the fan criticised De Laurentiis' approach toward running the club. They felt he prioritised profit over the team's success, which was amplified when the club's wage bill decreased by 15%. Many key players left during the summer, adding to fans' displeasure. However, De Laurentiis stood firm, maintaining a faith in their new signings, Min-jae and Kvaratskhelia, despite public skepticism. Despite the turbulence, Spalletti, the players, and De Laurentiis held on to their shared dream of making Napoli champions again, and boy, did they dream well. Sometimes you can write hundreds of words trying to review a team's season, but sometimes a few visuals can tell the whole story. Naples turning blue with everyone on the streets celebrating can only mean one thing: Napoli had a great season. It is absolutely safe to say that, as they ended a 30-year Scudetto drought in some style. But before that, let's take a look at the Champions League run, which looked grim, coming up against Liverpool, Rangers and Ajax, so Napoli had their work cut out pretty early on in the Champions League. The first fixture was at home against Liverpool, but at that time, Napoli's tail was already up, and they ran riot, winning the game 4-1, with a convincing display placing them at the top of the group, where they finished on goal difference. In the round of 16, Napoli put reigning Europa League champions Eintracht Frankfurt to the sword, advancing with an aggregate scoreline of 5-0. Ahead of them, they had the task of coming up against a fellow Serie A team, AC Milan, who they knew very well. In hindsight, it would have served Napoli better if they played a different team, as they looked overwhelmed with the occasion and did not perform to their usual standard. A quarter-final exit followed after a late rally when aggregate 2-1, but it was too late. That, however, would not be the case in Serie A. These guys didn't just enter the scene, they elevated it, which further widened into double digits by the mid-season. A 1-0 loss to Inter after the break was quickly forgotten after a significant 5-1 triumph over Juventus, their biggest victory against them since 1990. Napoli was in a class of their own, eyeing records held by the late 1940s Grande Torino for the winning margin and securing championship with games to spare. Their rivals needed their A game, but ended up in disarray, as not even reigning champions Milan couldn't match their previous year's pace, which was still slower compared to Napoli's. Inter, despite re-signing Romelu Lukaku, regressed in the league after narrowly missing the title last year. When Napoli decided to move forward without Koulibaly, Insigne and Mertens, The defence remained the best in Serie A, but the approach was different. With Alex Meret as their goalkeeper, the team shifted away from Ospina's style of playing from the back. Napoli is the only team in Italy to average more than 60% ball possession and deliver more than 600 passes per game. Stanislav Lobotka, the petite Slovakian, played like a safe vault for the ball. Napoli's attacking strategies also evolved. While last year saw the likes of Insigne and Ruiz scoring long-range goals, attempts from a